The Bible begins with a book called Genesis. Genesis means beginnings. It tells us how our world started. It is a very important story. God is the main character. He made everything we see, and everything we cannot see. This story sets the stage for all that follows. It helps us understand God's big plan. It is a story of power and love. This creation story is special. It is not a science report. It does not explain all the hows. Instead, it tells us about the who. It tells us about the why. God wanted to create. He wanted a world full of life. He wanted a relationship with us. This story shows God's character. He is organized, powerful, and good. The story starts with, "In the beginning God." This is a very powerful statement. It means God was there before anything else. There was nothing. Then God spoke. He created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the deep waters, but God's Spirit was there, hovering over the waters, ready to act. This shows God's supreme authority. Understanding Genesis helps us. It helps us understand the whole Bible. It introduces big ideas like God's order and God's goodness. It shows God's purpose for creating. He made everything with a plan. Nothing was an accident. We learn about our place too. The story is foundational for faith. On the very first day God spoke. He said, "Let there be light," and suddenly there was light. God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness. He called the light day. He called the darkness night. This was the first evening and morning. This was the start of order, a world beginning to take shape. On the second day, God continued his work. He said, "Let there be an expanse." This expanse was to separate waters above from waters below. God called this expanse sky. Imagine a great space being formed. This created the atmosphere, a place for clouds and weather. It prepared for life to come. God was carefully building our world. On the third day, God focused on water and land. He said, "Let the water under the sky gather." He wanted it to go to one place, and he wanted dry ground to appear. And it happened just as he said. God called the dry ground land. He called the gathered waters seas. God saw that this was good. The world was becoming more defined. Places for different things were made. Still on the third day God did more. He said, "Let the land produce vegetation." Seed-bearing plants started to grow, trees that bear fruit with seed in it. All kinds of plants appeared. The earth became green and alive. This was the first sign of life. God saw that it was good. Food was now available. The land was ready for more. On the fourth day God made great lights. He said, "Let there be lights in the sky." These lights were to separate day from night. They would serve as signs, to mark sacred times, days and years. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, the sun, the lesser light to govern the night, the moon. He also made the stars. God saw that it was good. On the fifth day, God filled the waters. He said, "Let the water teem with living creatures." And he said, "Let birds fly above the earth, across the vast expanse of the sky." So God created great sea creatures, and every living thing in the water. He created every winged bird. God saw that it was good. He blessed them to multiply. Life was now abundant in air and sea. On the sixth day, God made land animals. He said, "Let the land produce living creatures, according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move on the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind." And so it was. God made the wild animals. He made the livestock, and all the creatures that crawl. God saw that it was good. Then God said something very special. "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so they may rule over the fish, and over the birds and livestock, and over all the wild animals." So God created mankind in his own image. Male and female he created them. He blessed them and told them to fill the earth. This was the peak of his creation. By the seventh day God had finished. He had completed all his work. So on the seventh day, he rested. He rested from all his creating. God blessed the seventh day. He made it holy or special, because on it he rested. This shows work is important, but rest is also important and holy. It set a pattern for us. Each day, God looked at his work, and he said, "It is good." This is repeated many times. It shows God's satisfaction. It shows the value of everything he made. Nothing was bad or accidental. Everything had a purpose. The world was created with care, and with divine approval. This goodness is a gift. The Genesis creation story is ancient, but it still speaks to us now. It tells us who God is. He is powerful, creative, and loving. He is a God of order, not chaos. It also tells us about ourselves. We are made in God's image. This gives us dignity and worth. We have a special role to care for God's creation. This story of creation gives meaning. It helps us understand our world. It shows there is a plan, a divine design behind everything. It reminds us we are not alone. A loving God brought us into being. It calls us to look at nature and see God's handiwork. It encourages us to trust Him and to live for His purposes.